in the garage today. Back in the garage today. Get in the garage. Back in the garage today. What's going on, guys? Back in the garage today, but I'm not actually working on anything. We have shot so many back in the garage videos here in my garage that I thought it might be a cool idea to kind of give you guys a tour around, kind of how I have things organized, different types of motorcycle specific tools I have. So let's go check it out. So I've kind of mentioned it on the channel before. This is my attached garage to my house, two-car garage. Eventually, and I'm hoping within the next couple of months, I'm going to be moving most of my motorcycle stuff out of this garage over into a building which is on the adjacent property. Much larger space, and it can be 100% dedicated to working on bikes and cars versus this garage, which, you know, we park our vehicles in. So anyway, let me show you how I've got everything set up right now, knowing I just finished cleaning some stuff up earlier. And yeah, hopefully you get some ideas or at least find it entertaining. So we're in the right-hand bay, and this is where I park my pickup. We'll just kind of start here in this first corner. Obviously, you know, we've got some two-stroke mixture there. I've got oil for the truck and the car. I've got all my shop rags. I've got a couple of wash buckets over here. And then these are like all of the cleaning things for cars and motorcycles, whether it's simple green or car wash or tire foam or whatever the case may be. That's what we keep everything right here, as well as plenty of shop paper towels. Another view over here in the corner, we've got a hose, a water hose over here, and also this is the black and gray water drain hose that I have to use for my camper. Kind of working down this wall, obviously I have some ramps, jack stands, got a couple of spare skid plates. These are just kind of chemical buckets that I use to catch different chemicals in. I usually take this with us. It's got some supplies here for my camper. Obviously got a floor jack, and then one of my pans. I've got multiple pans, whether it's for transmission fluid or oil or whatever we're trying to catch. Okay, so I put this shelf in to have a place to put my saddlebags when they're not in use, because I don't typically have these on my Super Adventure unless I'm touring. I also have a spare Nelson rig half cover. It's the old one. But anyway, that's what's here. And then I've got my tool cart. Let me show you some stuff in here. All right, so the tool cart is mainly all motorcycle stuff. So I've got a little air pump here that we use for the Fox shock on the 50. This is my KTM torque wrench. It'll handle spokes. It also handles, you know, I think it's 1 to 25 newton meters. We've got a couple of T-handles. This is a power valve tool to adjust the power valves on KTM two-strokes. We've got a 48 millimeter seal drive for fork seals. This is also the specialty tool. I believe, I know it works on my dirt bike. I can't remember if it works on the big bike or not. We have a Tusk Sag Tool. This thing's great for setting the sag on the dirt bikes or a street bike for that matter. This is a 65 specific fork tool. You guys have seen this. This is the chain slack adjuster tool. I've got a couple of these chain tools to make sure you've got the wheel alignment on the rear wheel right. This is another specific tool for the KTM air forks. We've got a few butt plugs here. These are obviously for 4 strokes. These are for 2 strokes. Also have a couple of these drill bits. These are great because we normally run bar wraps on our dirt bikes, so to drill out the grips, it's perfect. There's no guesswork. And then back here in the back is the Motion Pro Jumbo chain tool for breaking chains and riveting chains and whatever you got to do with chains on a motorcycle. That's a must-have tool. In the top left-hand drawer, we have some of these ratcheting wrenches. I love these things, especially when you got to get into tight places. This is a valve shim kit. I believe this one fits a Kawasaki, and then over here I've got a jet kit. Drawer over here has some combination wrenches that I just realized I had earlier today. They've never been out of the package, but you know, they're the short handle ones, so they're great for tight spaces. Maybe one day I'll actually use them. All right, so this drawer here, I have a clothes hanger because you can use these things, you know, for all kinds of purposes. We've got some gasket kits and bolts and stuff over here. This is an entire helicoil kit for all different sizes. You know, we occasionally strip stuff out, especially working on aluminum motors, so you need a helicoil. This is just one of my additional torque wrenches. I think that one's 5 to 80 foot-pounds of torque. And then in here are my Mitoyo mics for measuring things, and they're on for some reason, but these things are great to have. Down in the bottom drawer, I actually did a video on this. This is the battery tester that I have. We've got a leak down tester for testing the 4 strokes. This is one of the carb tune tools, whether you're sinking carburetors or throttle bodies, these things are great to have. And then this is an engine compression tester that I won on Scotty Kilmer's channel. I haven't used it, but seems nice. Finally, down here on the bottom of the cart, this is my Motion Pro compression tester. This is the one I use most of the time for motorcycles. I've got a pop rivet gun, I've got a pneumatic staple gun. These are just a couple socket sets, and then I've got my grinder over there from Milwaukee. All right, so moving on down the wall, we still have Noah's Honda CRF50, his former race bike. We've got some plans for this bike, just haven't got around to them yet. We also have all sorts of gas cans over here. These couple of cans, you know, I use for like the lawnmower and stuff like that. That one's got 93 octane for my dirt bike, and then we have a couple of additional ones there that are mixed up for two-stroke for Noah's bike. All right, so I've got my Specialized mountain bike. Normally I only take this thing to the track as a means to get around. And then you see we have these 4 plastic containers. Bottom one's got KTM 65 parts. One of them has Honda 50 parts. One of them has Honda 100 parts. And this one up here has some of the stock parts I've taken off my Super Adventure and just a few additional items. So we got this plastic cabinet up here, a Rubbermaid cabinet. I've got a couple of Kristen's helmets in there. Got a couple of my old helmets in there. We kind of use as spares when someone needs one. Also on the very top is my Super Adventure stock windscreen. I've got that in a like a bubble wrap thing to keep it nice and fresh should I decide to put it back on the bike at some point in time. All right, so in the back corner here, obviously you got the Chad Reed autograph on the wall. These are some of my Super Adventure tires. Not the best place for them, but until I get moved into the new shop, at least I got a little bit of extra floor space back here. These are ones I took off right before Alaska. They've got maybe 4,000 miles on them. I'll put these back on at some point. These are the stock Trail Attack 2 tires. And then up here are the new Bridgestone Battle Axe AX41s. They're going to go on my bike in just a couple of weeks when I get ready to go ride the Mid-Atlantic Backcountry Discovery route. But in the meantime, they're sitting there because I've got another trip coming up this week where I'm going to be, I have these sorts of tires on the bike right now. All right, so the cabinet itself, obviously decorated in lots of motorcycle stickers, lots of moto vloggers, lots of YouTubers, those sorts of things. Inside of here, this is pretty cool. I just finished doing this earlier today. These are all the different service manuals I have organized out. And then basically, I mean, I've got my tank bag in there for my Super Adventure and a couple other tail packs and stuff. And a lot of it's just boxes that are, you know, with stock parts that I've taken off that I don't want to get rid of. Also have a Canyon Dancer and some tie-down straps in there. But this has become the new home for the service manuals. All right, so along the back wall is where we keep most of the motorcycles. We obviously have my 2017 KTM 250 XCF. We've got Noah's 2019 KTM 85 SX. We've got my old 1983 Honda C70. And then, I don't even remember what year that Ducati is, 2006 Multistrada 620. And then back here in the back, you can't really see it, we've got Kristen's Honda CRF 100 dirt bike. And then all kinds of metal signs and stuff I've collected, and you know, some autographs and stuff that we've gotten from some different races and those sorts of things. Let me show you what's up in this cabinet and we'll finish working our way around. If you look real close, you can see Kristen's Honda CRF 100. All right, so in this cabinet up here, we've got our air filter cleaning solution in this tub. We have our oil that we use to oil up our air filters in this tub. I've got a few spare air filters for my 250. I also have a rain cover for one, and then I have my wash box cover. You got a spare battery tender, bunch of clear motorcycle shields because I almost always put a smoke one on when I get it, and then just this Nelson rig tail pack tank bag, but however you want to use it. I use this on the trip to Alaska. Don't use it a lot anymore, but it is a great bag. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, but I absolutely love, is my motorcycle lift. Kristen got this for me, I believe it was a few Christmases ago. This thing's been outstanding. It's just one of those Harbor Freight models you pick up for about 300 bucks. Haven't had any issues out of it. You can tell it's gotten plenty of use because the paint's starting to rub off of it. But I'm hoping when we get to the next shop, obviously we'll take this one and we'll probably add an additional. And what's great about it is it's low profile enough. I still park my truck in this garage. It comes right up over top of it. That's kind of what the wooden block there's for. My tire hits it. I know I'm in far enough, and you know, we can navigate around everything. All right, so still moving along the back wall. Obviously, we've got a couple of work stools right there, and then if you look in the very back, that's my air compressor that we use to mainly just put, you know, air in tires or blow stuff off. But occasionally, I will hook up an air tool to it. just replaced, just got that one probably within the last year. My other one finally went kaput after about 15 years. All right, so next up, I'm gonna take you through my Craftsman Toolbox. I'm not gonna show you every single thing, but I'm gonna show you quite a bit of what I've got in there, so let's get to it. So up top are all of my metric sockets, both regular size and deep well. You can see I've also got some torque bit sockets. I've got some hex sockets, got a little bit of everything. There's also one of the old school torque wrenches up there, but that's where I keep all my metric sockets. All right, so in the top left-hand drawer, this is where I keep all of my metric Allen keys or hex head keys, whatever you want to call them. I've got all different sorts of contraptions in there. This middle top drawer is where I keep all of my different picks. Also have some razor blades in here as well, and a spring puller, spring hook. This side over here, same deal, hex head keys. They're just the standards instead of the metrics. This drawer is where I keep all of my ratchets and universal joints and extensions and those sorts of things. All right, so this drawer is full of all of my metric wrenches. I go all the way up to a size 27. The drawer below it are all of my standard wrenches. They're all in order. I've got 2 sets of each in most cases, at least in this toolbox. This drawer here, while it looks like junk, it's actually a bunch of different fasteners that I've just collected over the years, because inevitably you will lose some sort of screw or bolt or washer, and 9 times out of 10 I can find something that'll work in this drawer. All right, moving down to the middle section, this drawer here has some hose wrenches. I've also got a punch set, and then my T-handle hexes that I use all the time. Next drawer is just the screwdriver drawer. They are in no particular order whatsoever. And then the bottom drawer of the middle section, these are all of my standard sockets. I also have some oil filter wrenches in here, and the torque wrench I use most of the time. Moving down to the bottom section, this is where I keep wire cutters and needle nose pliers and all sorts of pliers, including safety wire pliers. I've got safety wire in there. We've got cutters, a little bit of everything. But yeah, these are all my pliers. Next drawer down is kind of like my homeowner drawer. We've got hammers, we've got staple guns, we've got measuring tapes. I do keep a metric tape, especially for working on European motorcycles or Japanese motorcycles, just for measuring purposes, but this is just kind of a catch-all drawer. The next drawer down is my electrical drawer. So I've got a voltmeter in there, I've got fuses, I've got, again, a little bit of everything: electrical tape, wire connectors, solder, all those sorts of things. Next drawer down is just a bunch of different stuff. I've got knee pads in there, obviously. I've got some vice grips. Those are impact socket set over there. I've got a flywheel holder, a little bit of everything. And then finally in the bottom drawer are a lot of kits. This here is a fork seal driver that you can put in a bunch of different sizes. I've got a wheel puller set here. I've got a bearing pulling set down here. I've got a bunch of different hose clamps and C clips and E clips and European specific bolts. And one thing you might want to have, might want to think about getting if you don't have one, is an impact driver. These things are great when you've got a screw that doesn't want to come out and you're worried about stripping the heads. These things are awesome to have, and they're actually pretty cheap. All right, so next up is just my workbench. I also have one of the Beats speakers back here for Bluetooth for my phone. Another set of T-handle hex keys. I've got some exhaust packing up here. Obviously I have my impact drill here. I've got the different chargers set up here. I'll show you what's in the drawers. I've got a small vise here, and I've got some soft jaws in there that I just cut out myself with aluminum. I'll show you what's in these drawers and then what's down below. So this top left drawer, I don't want to show you too much. It's just a bunch of old motorcycle parts that I haven't thrown out. They are in different baggies and labeled whatever they are, and spare spark plugs and those sorts of things. The right-hand drawer, really not much motorcycle stuff in here. These are just all the different manuals and warranty paperwork for all the different stuff I have, so nothing real exciting. Finally, the bottom drawer. Again, a little bit of a catch-all. I've got some spare battery tender leads and stuff in there. I got some stuff for my camper. This box is actually empty, but it's got some spare parts in there for the headsets. Got some spare Dremel tool things, sandpaper, just random stuff that you need. All right, so moving down to the bottom, obviously I've got I've got a torch there with MAP gas in it. I've got my Dremel tool. I've got a bunch of battery-powered tools there, including a bunch of drills. Let me show you what's inside the earthquake box, because that thing's kind of cool. And then obviously you get some drill bits. So this is one of my newest tools. We got this from Harbor Freight. This is a battery-powered ratchet. You get the battery that goes in here somehow. And yeah, this thing, it just saves you a lot of time, especially assembling, disassembling motorcycles. I got the charger over here for it and a spare battery. The only thing I found odd with it is you have to take the battery out for this thing to fit in the case, which is kind of strange. But got this thing on sale. It's worked great so far. It's got some pretty good reviews on it. I did look at the Milwaukee, but for the price difference, it really just couldn't justify it. So we've got Noah's bicycle a little bit in frame here, but this entire setup here, all the different chemicals I use for, you know, basically doing maintenance to motorcycles. So we got tons of brake cleaner. We've got WD-40. You've got carburetor cleaner. You got a little bit of everything up here. This is mostly cleaners up top here on this shelf. I know it looks a mess. I've just ran out of room. We've got fork oil, we've got engine oil, we've got brake fluid, we've got coolant, got a little bit of everything. Down on this shelf, you know, I've got tubs of grease, I've got Loctite, I've got JB Weld, I've got a little bit of everything down here. Octane booster, fuel stabilizer, you name it, we've got it. So working on down on the side where Kristen parks her car, obviously we've got all of our dirt bike boots stored here. We've got some of the chest protectors and camelbacks or hydration systems. We've got Noah's helmet here. I think a couple of those are, one of those is Kristen's down there. We've got some spare boots, again, chest protectors, camelback. Just not all the dirt bike apparel's here, but at least some of it is. And then last but not least, my Super Adventure sits in between the two garage doors. Obviously Kristen's car is usually parked where the camera's sitting right now, but the nice thing is I can get the bike out without having to move her car or my truck, because her car pulls up a little bit further. It leaves me room to back this bike out. Also on the wall behind me, there is a wall outlet there. It's great for plugging in the battery tender. I keep pigtails on this thing, so when it's going to be sitting for extended periods of time, I can plug it in and keep the battery fresh, but that's pretty much it. So anyway, guys, that's a tour of my garage. Like I said, we've shot so many videos in here, but I've never actually shown you around the place. Now, typically my truck is parked in here and Kristen's car is parked on her side, and we still have room to walk around. You can't get all the bikes out, but like I said, you can get the Super Adventure out with both vehicles parked in there. And if you just take one of the vehicles out, every single bike comes out without much problem. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, considering that subscribe button, because if you like motorcycles, this is the place to be. If you have any questions specifically about any of the tools I went over, let me know down in the comment section below. Also, always linked in the description is a link to my Amazon store where a lot of those tools are listed. If there's something you're interested in, go check them out. And as always, I'll talk to you again soon.